Welcome back to The Explainer. Let's jump right in. Because today, we're looking at something absolutely fascinating. An ancient, totally paradigm-shifting philosophical text known simply as the Treatise on the Resurrection. Now, if you've ever found yourself pondering the really big, heavy questions about life, death, and spiritual awakening, you are definitely going to want to stick around for this one. Because this text, it doesn't just offer some minor tweak to traditional beliefs, it completely upends them. It literally challenges us to rip up the rulebook and rethink our entire understanding of human existence. So let's get into it.
Section 1. Resurrection isn't what you think. Okay, so when we hear the word resurrection, we almost always picture this dramatic biological event that's strictly reserved for the end of time, right? Like something either completely impossible or just so far in the future it doesn't matter to us today. But here's where the text drops its first massive curveball. It makes this radical claim: resurrection is real, and it is actually happening right now. It's not some delayed promise you have to wait around for. It's a present reality, but only for those who are awake enough to recognize it.
Which brings us to Section 2, the body as earth for the seed. To really wrap our heads around this abstract idea that resurrection is a present moment kind of thing, the text uses this brilliant, super grounding metaphor from nature. Just think about a seed planted in the earth. To anyone standing above ground, looking down at the dirt, that seed appears totally dead, right? Just buried and gone. But internally, there's all this life just waiting. And when the conditions are right, boom, it bursts through the surface and becomes a full-grown tree. The text argues that this is exactly how we operate. The physical body isn't you. It's merely the earth. It's the dirt. And the spirit inside you, that is the living seed, just waiting to burst forth. So because that spirit is already alive inside your earthly body right now, the text goes ahead and completely redefines mortality. Think about it. Death is no longer this final, absolute, terrifying end. Instead, it's really just a sleep from which we wake. If your body is just the dirt holding the seed, then biological death obviously isn't the destruction of the seed. It's literally just the process of waking up from a temporary slumber. And honestly, that completely shifts the emotional weight we tend to place on mortality.
And to back up this incredibly comforting view, the text poses a really powerful rhetorical question. Why would the father leave his children in darkness? I mean, logically, if the creator made everything, it makes absolutely zero sense that he'd just abandon his creations to the void. No way. Instead of leaving us in the dark, the text insists that the creator is actively calling his children back. That sleep of death, it's just a transition back to the source.
Section 3, the path shown by the sun. Now you might be wondering, if we're meant to wake up from this sleep, how do we actually know the way? Well, the text points to a very specific blueprint, summed up in this incredibly simple yet profound little statement. He died but lives. The son died in a physical, suffering body. That part was very real and totally unavoidable. But the catch is, despite that biological death, he lives on. Not in a body that suffers, but as an eternal spirit. By doing this, he demonstrated the exact transition we were just talking about, the seed bursting from the earth. He proved that the physical end is definitely not the spiritual end.
And this perfectly illustrates the core thesis here. There is a very clear separation between true resurrection and what the text calls shadows. The physical body breaking down, that is just a shadow. It's an illusion of finality. The real substance, the true resurrection, is all about the awakening of the soul. It's the active knowing of the Father, and ultimately, a return to fullness. It's a journey of consciousness, not of biology. The text assures us that the second we understand we belong to Him and came from Him, guess what? We are already resurrected.
Moving on to Section 4, the body is merely a garment.
So, if resurrection is an entirely spiritual thing, why are we also terrified of death? Well, the author traces this fear right back to an unhealthy attachment we have to our physical forms. Basically, we confuse who we are with what we're wearing. The text compares the body to a temporary piece of clothing. It's merely a garment. When we're done using it, it just remains in the dust. Think about it. You wouldn't cry over taking off a jacket at the end of a long day, right? The spirit, on the other hand, is eternal. It's the part that actually remains. Once you truly grasp that dynamic, the fear of death becomes completely irrational according to this philosophy.
Section 5, a state, not an event. Okay, so how does all of this actually change how we live our lives today? The text lays out some pretty urgent, direct commands for achieving this resurrection right now. First off, don't wait for the last day. Stop looking to the future or some apocalyptic end-of-the-world scenario for your salvation. Second, turn inward. The answer isn't out there somewhere. Remember, the seed is buried in your own earth. Third, know the truth. This requires deep internal realization and constant vigilance. And fourth, become full. The text promises that when you actually do these things, death literally loses all its power over you. Why? Because you're already fully alive in a realm that is way above death.
The author sums up this whole massive philosophy with one definitive mic drop statement. Resurrection is not an event, it is a state. And that state, you already hold it within yourself. It is a profound, urgent call to wake up, to be sober, to be vigilant, and to live in a constant state of knowledge. You are not just sitting around waiting to be saved at the end of time. You already have the whole mechanism for your own awakening right there inside you.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative challenge, pulled right from the core of the text. Are you waiting for the last day, or are you turning inward right now? Are you treating your spiritual life as some future event to be managed, or as a present state to be realized today? It's a lot to chew on. Thank you so much for joining me, and I really hope this gave you something profound to think about. See you next time.